Good evening, you're watching Left, Right and Centre. I'm Nidhi Razdan. Tonight, the Centre pushes 3 more ordinances, including major changes to the Land Acquisition Act. But is this the way reforms should be pushed through? Or was the government left with no choice after the opposition repeatedly stalled Parliament? Also, why did the director of IIT Delhi quit? Did the HRD ministry interfere in the functioning of an autonomous body? Has the HRD ministry become the most controversial in Mr. Modi's government? And why? That's a debate that's coming up in about 30 minutes from now. But first, unable to get parliamentary approval, the centre is on an ordinance spree. 3 more ordinances were cleared today. The most important among them was to amend the Land Acquisition Act, which essentially makes it a lot easier for private companies to acquire land for businesses. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley said there's a need to strike a balance between the interests of farmers and industrial growth. The land ordinance has diluted norms for 5 sectors in particular: affordable housing, industrial corridors, rural infrastructure and defence. The BJP-led government has been unable to get these bills through in Parliament because of a lack of numbers in the Rajya Sabha, which has of course also seen repeated disruptions. The question then is whether this is how reforms should be pushed through, or whether the government was really left with no choice. Joining us on the program tonight, we have Gurcharan Das, the author of India Grows at Night; Bharat Bhushan, senior journalist and commentator, here in the studio with us; Sambit Patra, spokesperson of the BJP. We will also be joined by Harsh Mandar, well-known writer and activist, and Dr. Ajay Kumar, spokesperson of the Congress Party. Sambit Patra, why resort to the ordinance route? It is something that the UPA often did. In fact, the BJP was highly critical when the Congress-led government used to do that in the 10 years of the UPA. There are your leaders who've gone on record. In fact, Rajnath Singh had said it was against the spirit of democracy. Sushma Swaraj was on record saying that ordinances were only meant to be in exceptional circumstances. Why is the BJP doing the same?
One has to understand absolutely clear that the government is committed towards development, that the government has promised for Achhe Din. And in order to see to it that we deliver upon our promise, we should not miss any opportunity. And we have also seen as to how the Parliament was held to ransom by the opposition party on trivial issues. We had said that the Home Minister would be speaking on conversion. We would be giving all kind of answers to the questions put by the opposition. But ironically, the opposition held the Parliament to ransom and did not allow important bills to go through. And that's the reason as to why an ordinance route has been taken. There is nothing wrong in the ordinance route in the sense that umpteen number of examples exist in the past where ordinance route were taken by the previous government. So why there is a problem today when development is tried to be ushered in through the ordinance route?
But Sambit, the point is, as Sushma Swaraj once said in June 2013, she actually tweeted that under the Constitution, an ordinance can be promulgated only under extraordinary situations. Is this amendment, for instance, to the Land Acquisition Act really an extraordinary situation? What is the why now? Why not wait till the next session of Parliament?
No, I would say it is an extraordinary situation. The investment has to increase in the country, and the way the Land Acquisition Act, as said by most of the stakeholders, was acting as a hindrance, as a barrier to approximately US $300 billion. I believe it was a matter of urgency that this hindrance, this barrier had to be removed.
Why did you support it in Parliament when the Congress passed it?
So that
Then why did the BJP support it?
Your voice is not clear. There is a grating sound. I cannot hear you. I cannot hear you.
Okay, I don't know if it's a grating sound or an inconvenient question, so we'll just try and fix that audio and come back to you. Sambit, give me a moment.
No, I can
okay, you can. I'm saying, why did the BJP
please improve the sound quality?
Okay, we will try and do that, Sambit. My point is, why did the BJP then support the original Land Act when it went through in Parliament? Why not oppose it then?
No, Bharatiya Janata Party was committed towards the Land Act. We had always said that we do not want to touch the high compensation. Mr. Arun Jaitley today pointed out to the fact that we will not be touching upon the high compensation rate fix. We have no problem with that. But there are clauses which needs to be amended in order to see to it that the farmers and the industry, both sectors, in fact, have a balancing thing to be done. And that's what today we have taken into account and we have acted upon it.
Yes, but at that time you supported it, and that's my point. But I think the more important point here, and I'll bring Mr. Bharat Bhushan into this, is that should the ordinance route be used like this? Now, to be fair, the UPA actually, and Mr. Venkaiah Naidu pointed this out, they brought in some 61 ordinances during their 2 terms. This is and he's given a breakup of that. I mean, something like the Food Security Act, which was so important and needed to be debated and discussed, was also brought in by the UPA in that way. Maybe what they did was wrong. and it shouldn't be repeated. But is this the right way to do it, or really were they left with no choice?
Well, let me begin by saying that they were not left with any choice, not because Parliament didn't function, because there the BJP was getting a taste of its own medicine. You know, we've seen previous parliaments where BJP has not let Parliament function, from Bofor's days to Lokpal. But leave that aside. The reason they had to go through the ordinance route is because there is a section in the Land Acquisition Act, section 105, subsection 3, which told the government that within 1 year of the act coming into force, you will have to amend several legislation, central legislation, 13 of them in fact, which all deal with infrastructure, defense, atomic energy, etc. Otherwise, they would also have to be amended so that the same rules of land acquisition apply to them as to other cases of land acquisition. So by 1st January 2015, they had to somehow see to it, rush in with the ordinance. So that was the compulsion, legal compulsion.
On the Land Act, but there are other ordinances
well,
too.
Other acts, there was no emergency except in the coal mining case, because coal mines are also being auctioned. But insurance, there was no emergency. It just shows complete lack of failure of this government to make our democracy function. After all, these laws concern the people of this country. They have elected representatives. States' interests are represented by these people. There should be debate, deliberation, and a compromise should be worked out. That's what the parliamentary system is all about. Now, this government is really like the character of Zeenat Aman in Satyam Shivam Sundaram. There is an ugly side to them. That is, the frothy fringes who are talking about reconversions and, bringing back Christians and Muslims and so on and so forth, sending terribly sort of bad signals to investors and to people about stability of this country, where this country is headed. And they want to present a good side, the sexy side, to all the business people, saying that, look, we are for economic reforms. You can be a Hindu zealot, but at the same time, you can be pro FDI and insurance, pro-liberalization,
okay, pretty strong words there from you. I'll take that to Gurcharan Das. Mr. Das, I know that you've been saying for a while that that you're batting for this government to move ahead with reforms and move on them quickly. But do you believe that this was the way that it should have been done, or do you believe that this is the right thing to do?
Well, obviously, ordinance is not the right way to enact legislation or to move ahead. And what it really brings out is the problem of the Indian state, which is the lack of capacity. And a parliamentary gridlock such as this, where we lost almost 2 weeks in the Rajya Sabha, really on frivolous issues, when important legislation was pending, is really a failure of the institution of Parliament. And so, frankly, I think that there was no choice